What is the smartest thing you have done while you were drunk? Back in 2011, I was at a small university in Pennsylvania. It wasn't a big school, more of a commuter-heavy regional college with a few dorms and some off-campus houses students rented together. That night, I was at a house party hosted by a guy named Travis. He lived in one of those rundown student rentals where the walls were paper thin and the carpet hadn't been replaced since the late 80s. It wasn't even that crazy of a party at first. Maybe 50 people tops, some beer pong tables in the kitchen, music coming from a couple of busted speakers in the living room, and the faint smell of cheap weed floating through the hallways. The place was packed with underclassmen though, mostly sophomores and freshmen, which meant half the people there weren't 21. I was 20 at the time myself, drunk off a mix of Keystone Light and whatever random vodka someone shoved into my cup. Around midnight, the music cut suddenly. At first, I thought the speaker blew out again, but then someone at the door yelled, "Cops!" It was like a switch flipped. The house went from loud and chaotic to dead quiet, followed by the sound of dozens of people scrambling like roaches. When the lights come on, people bolted for bedrooms, slammed doors, killed lights, and whispered frantically, like somehow the cops wouldn't notice 30 pairs of shoes piled in front of a locked door. I was drunk, but I wasn't that drunk. I grabbed the nearest girl's arm. Her name was Emily, a friend of a friend I'd met that night, and pulled her into one of the bedrooms down the hall. She panicked and went to close the door and flipped the light, but I stopped her. "Leave it," I said. "Door open, lights on." She looked at me like I was insane, but I dragged her into the closet and pulled the door just nearly shut, leaving a sliver open. It was tight, coats hanging in our faces, shoeboxes under our feet, both of us trying not to laugh at how stupid the situation felt. Meanwhile, the cops were moving through the house. You could hear them clearly. "Police, stay where you are." Doors opening, flashlights sweeping, people getting pulled out of rooms. Every time a door creaked, someone was being caught. A couple kids even tried to climb out windows, but weren't fast enough. The whole house was turning into a sting operation. My heart was pounding like I'd run a marathon, even though I was standing perfectly still, half drunk in a closet with a girl I barely knew. I figured at any second a flashlight beam was going to hit the closet door, swing it open, and I'd be cuffed and spending the night in county. But then I heard the cops get to our room. Their voices got closer. One of them stepped inside, and the beam of his flashlight cut across the room. Emily's hand tightened around my arm, and I thought, this is it. Except it wasn't. The cop poked his head in, saw the bed untouched, the light still on, and the door wide open. He lingered for maybe 2 seconds, muttered something to the other officer, then stepped back into the hallway. They moved on. We stayed crammed in that closet for what felt like an hour, though it was probably only 10 minutes. Eventually, the noise in the house died down. You could hear the officers leading people out, shuffling feet, some nervous laughter, and a few kids cursing under their breath. When it got quiet enough, I pushed the closet door open and peeked out. The room was empty. Emily and I stepped out cautiously and crept into the hallway. Most of the other bedroom doors were wide open now, and the kids who had tried to hide there were gone. We made our way to the back door, trying not to make a sound. The house felt like a graveyard after a storm. Beer cups tipped over, music equipment unplugged, the pong table sitting abandoned with half-full cups. Outside, the flashing red and blue lights bounced across the street. We ducked out the back and kept walking down the alley until we were a few blocks away. You sent. When we finally stopped, Emily turned to me and whispered, "How the hell did that work?" I just shrugged, still riding the adrenaline, because no one hides in plain sight. I said, "We ended up at a diner an hour later with a few other survivors of the party who had slipped away." The whole night turned into this weird bonding experience. Everyone else who had been there got written up, had to deal with underage citations, and some even had to go through alcohol education programs. Emily and I, we ate pancakes at 2 a.m. and laughed about how we survived the raid by sitting in a damn closet with the lights on. The next Monday, word got around campus about the bust. People couldn't believe I didn't get caught. Travis got in trouble with the landlord and campus security, but he managed to avoid losing the lease. I ran into Emily a few more times after that, and every time she'd bring it up, "You saved my ass," she'd joke. I wasn't a genius, and I wasn't sober enough to think it all the way through. But that one night, drunk and half lucky, I guess I managed to outsmart the cops, just enough to walk away clean.